Hi Fareez, let's take a look at this new set of essays you've sent us. The first one is about the Olympics. Here's what you wrote. Okay. The world stage has developed immensely, bringing together more nations and athletes than ever before. Although some people believe that the Olympics may not be essential in the modern era, I am of the view that it still holds a prominent position. This essay will argue that the evidence put forward supports the notions that the games are essential. Okay, fine. Firstly, the Olympics is still a major global competition, enticing athletes from every corner of the globe. All right, careful here. You've got global and globe in the same sentence. So really you could have just said from every corner of the world, and that would have been a better choice here. This is because the allure of the distinguished spot on the first place podium commands the attention of those who wish to be called elite. For example, Olympic gold medalist Michael Phelps would train every day with one goal in mind, that his one shot was gold at the Olympics, disregarding any other titles achieved. Therefore, it can be seen that the competition is important since participants consider the title so dearly. Okay, it's nice. It's certainly cohesive, and your point here is that the participants themselves find the Olympics really like the top honor they can receive. And so that's what you're telling us is one of the reasons why the Olympics is important. All right, I just want to make sure I understand. Let's move on. Secondly, world governments battle for the rights to host the games in their country. This is because increasing economic activity is a byproduct of being the host country to an event as highly regarded as this. For example, a review by the former host country Brazil showed that revenues across the entire tourism industry had exponentially increased when compared to the same period the year before and after. Thus, careful, we don't say thusly, thus, for people to flock to a hosting country during the games means that it creates an undoubtedly significant impression. Well, I don't know about this sentence. Maybe you could have said that, thus, for people to flock, it creates an undoubtedly, I don't think that's what you're actually saying here. I think you're saying that, in other words, I don't think this sentence really refers back to this sentence. And I don't think that this sentence is really concluding your paragraph. I think you've actually said something different. So what I understand in this paragraph is that you're saying that the fact that people go all across the world and tourism increases in the coast country is an example that the games are still relevant. I think that's what you're saying here. But if that's the case, then this paragraph, this sentence was wrong. Okay? So maybe, in fact, this is what you're trying to say, and this sentence needs to be rephrased because they really don't link to each other. In other words, this sentence gives me an impression that your point is something else, and then this sentence gives me an impression that your point is something totally different. So there's a little bit of a disconnect between these two ideas here, okay? All right, so in conclusion, the Olympics was and continues to remain highly sought after, and the word you want is sought, S-O-U-G-H-T, both by the potential participants and hosts. In my opinion, solidifying its irrefutable mark on the world. In the future, I'm certain that technology will only serve to enhance this already unbelievable show of talent. Okay, I don't know if I would have mentioned this thing about technology here. I don't know how totally relevant it is. I think that you could have said something more linked to the way you developed this paragraph. Maybe something like, in the future, I am certain that this unbelievable show of talent will only increase in importance. Okay, something like that, but suddenly to throw in this idea of technology when you didn't mention anything related to technology anywhere else feels to me a little false. Like it doesn't really belong here, okay? So there's some nice elements in this essay. Your grammar is very good. Your vocabulary is wonderful. I really enjoy both of them. The coherence and cohesion, for the most part, was well controlled. Like I said, you had a problem here, okay? But it's a strong essay. Is it a 7.5 essay? I have to think about that. Potentially, I mean, you've got good enough vocabulary. You've got like things like this: the allure of the distinguished spot on the first place podium commands the attention, I mean, of those who wish to be called elite. I mean, that's a lovely sentence. So that feels like 8 language, sure, okay? However, what could potentially be keeping you from getting a score like that is the task development here. Again, a little bit of that incoherence. Now remember, in order to get a 7.5, you need to have at least 2 8s, okay? So your grammar and vocabulary could be there, yeah, but I'm not so certain about the other elements. So let's take a look at this a little bit. Some people think that the Olympics is no longer important. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So you completely disagree. My question to you is this, Fareez. Why would anyone think that the Olympics are no longer important? Can you think of why this opinion might even exist? I mean, is there any sort of justification for an opinion like this? Because that's something you could have done that would have made this made this essay a little more developed. So if you had perhaps developed that side of this and saying that, you know, there is some justification for why people think this. I mean, you know, we have things like the World Cup. We have things like, I don't know, like some other world sporting event. And, you know, and nowadays, like, so basically we don't need the Olympics when we have a plethora of other sporting events that we can watch and even attend. Okay, so the Olympics just feels a little outdated. Furthermore, the Olympics used to be a reason for us to, you know, to get together and, you know, it used to promote world peace and unity and globalization. But now we live in such a globalized society that the goals it initially sought to reach really feel kind of, again, outdated or not really relevant anymore. So that's one thing that you could have done here. You could have argued the opposite side and say why this belief exists, okay? And then you could have said that despite the validity of the aforementioned reasons, I do believe that the Olympics still are very relevant today and will continue to be relevant. And then you can go into all of this. So that would have been an interesting way to do that, to show that, you know, you've really thought about all the sides of this issue, even the side that you don't really agree with, but you can find some validity in it. So that's something I want you to think about as you're aiming for potentially an 8 in task achievement, okay? So think about that, and then I want to move on to your second essay. All right, so here we've got the letter to Albion. Here's what you wrote. Dear Sir Madam, my name is Fareez Isahak, okay, and I'm contacting you to sincerely apologize for the tardy submission of my medical certificate, which got trapped in the mail. I don't know about this, which got trapped, which was lost in the mail, perhaps would be a better word. Which got trapped feels a little informal. Unfortunately, I unexpectedly fell seriously ill on the morning of my final biotechnology exam on this date. My roommate found me unconscious on the bathroom floor, and I was rushed to the hospital, where I stayed for a period of 5 days. I was incapacitated at the time, so my mother called the university. After numerous unsuccessful phone calls, she decided to send my medical certificate via the post. Enclosed are my medical reports, receipts, and a doctor's note detailing my condition. You don't need this semicolon here. It would have been fine without it. I'm fully committed to completing my course, and I hope you will allow me to sit the exam this summer. Do you think this would be possible? Once again, I apologize for any inconvenience caused, and I hope you can consider my situation favorably. Yours faithfully. Okay, this is lovely. The language, the grammar, it's beautiful. It really is nicely written. Guess what? You're going to have a problem with it. And do you know where you're going to have a problem with it? Your problem is going to be with task achievement. Let me explain to you why. Look at this. It says, do you apologize for the situation? Yes, you apologize. No problem. That's fine. Okay? You apologize twice, so that's good. Did you identify yourself with all of these elements? Yes, you did that. Did you give an explanation and evidence? Yes, you did. You gave both. Look where you come into a problem. Possible resolutions to consider. One resolution is all you gave. You said, I hope you will allow me to sit the exam this summer. But look what it asks for. It says resolutions. And so what you need to understand here is that they expect more than one possible resolution from you. They want you to provide another alternative, at least one. And so not doing that is going to severely lower your task achievement score. All right, take a look at the band descriptors for task 1. And if you look at the 5, you'll see that this sort of partially fulfilling the bullet is one of the things that is a hallmark of a 5 in task achievement, okay? So yeah, unfortunately, that's what happens. So you have to really, 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 really be careful with these bullets and make sure that you've 100% fulfilled them and done everything that they've asked for, okay? Is it lovely? Yeah, it is. Is it well written? Is it developed, etc., etc.? Yeah, but this simple mistake is going to severely cost you in task achievement, okay? So go ahead and send us your next set of essays, apply all the things that we're talking about, and let's meet back here with your new essays. Good luck.